And okay, take one. Hello, it's Hannah again. So new setup, slightly different. I'm trying in the lounge because we have the fairy lights up, and I have a new ring light, so lighting should be better. I'm hoping it looks okay. Today I'm going to do a tea 101, so literally going over the basics of tea, because I had some comments from my first video saying that people didn't quite understand what I was talking about when I was going about lapsang, hojicha and all of that. I thought I would go back to basics and do a bit of an explanation of what the different types of tea are. So, tea comes from the Camellia sinensis, which looks like this. It's not looking brilliant. I do need to cut it down a bit for the winter, and it's only the leaves in these that is used for tea. I will not count red bush, herbal infusions, or any other thing that's not, doesn't come from the Camellia sinensis. I will not count that as tea, even though everyone does call them, it's peppermint tea and stuff like that. So for the purpose of my blog and my video, that is what I count as tea, is this everything that comes from the Camellia sinensis. So then from the bushes, you get the seeds, which literally just look like little Maltesers. They come in like almost a little apple, and it has sort of 3 or 4 seeds in it, and they just sort of open up, and you can either pick the seeds or leave them for growth. They fall down and grow. So that's where the tea comes from. Within the leaves themselves, then they are then processed into there's different ways of processing to then make different teas. So I'm going to talk about the 4, have I got 4? 4 main ones: white tea, green tea, oolong and black tea. There is then pu'er and yellow tea, and then sort of then we're starting to get into purple tea and other teas like that, but I don't have a great amount of experience in those teas. These 4 I do know, so they're the ones I'm going to talk about. And as well, I think for starters into tea, it's probably better to stick to those 4 to begin with. So let's start with white tea. So white tea is the least processed tea. The leaves are picked and left to wither, and that's it, pretty much. They are they have sort of the highest level of moisture still in them, so you get very light colours from them. And they were originally called white tea because they had, on there, probably not, the leaves still have the white sort of almost furry bits on them. I don't know the technical word, I do know there is a word for it, but they have sort of downy hairs on them, which are from the newest leaves. Some, depending on the tea in the area, some tea will only be the bud, some will be the bud and the first leaf, so this is the bud and the first leaf, but you can see there's sort of been barely anything done to it in terms of processing. And so the smell of them are, it's very light, almost sort of muscatel, beautiful sort of floral. You tend to get a lot of jasmine flavours, elderflower, and sort of those really lovely light but not overpowering, too florally fragrances from them. But there's it's just really, it doesn't smell like grass or anything like that. You get beautiful, lovely light flavours from them. So then next is green tea, which probably a lot of people do know, but I have my issues with it, but we'll talk about that another time. So green tea are sort of the next step on. So the leaves are picked, they are left to wither, either in out in the sun or in warm rooms, not for too long, but just to reduce some of the moisture. Then they are it's sort of the stopped, so it's either they get pan fried or steamed, depending on the area of production, so whether it's China or Japan. And then they're rolled and fired to shape the leaves, and then to reduce the to just dry the leaves out, so they still sort of have that slight level of moisture, but they're still green. This is my Japanese sencha. It's a beautiful smell. It's almost a cross between spinach and some kind of sweet. I don't know what it is, but it's really nice. I know it probably doesn't sound really nice, spinach and a sweet, but it's a really beautiful flavour. It's sort of that marine-y, sort of seaweedy, but it's sweet, and it has an amazing flavour. And these leaves are that's going to be able to come up. So it's literally they're rolled. These are sort of long thin leaves, and they're steamed. So it has a beautiful flavour. And the liquor then is, again, it's sort of that marine-y flavour, but not fishy flavour. It's sort of like the wildlife of the sea, which is beautiful, but it's sort of it's a more of a yellowy colour. I'm hoping this is all in line. I got cramp, so I had to just get up and then knock the camera over. So sorry if it's slightly different angles. Sorry. So then we go on to oolongs, which is a bit of a confusion for people who aren't loose leaf drinkers. So, and you can't really get oolongs in tea bags that I've seen. I'm sure I will find it one day. But you get darker open leaves, so something like my Formosa oolong, or you get bold green leaves like my milk oolong. So with the green leaves, then they are little bald jade, sort of little almost pellets, but they're sort of, each one's different, so they look and smell. These ones smell amazing. So they're picked and withered and damaged slightly, so start oxidization process. Then when those that are going to be the green balled, they are when they get to about 30% oxidization, they're stopped, which prevents any more oxidization. They're then so they're panned in sort of a panning machine, and then they're left to sort of dry out overnight, and then they're essentially put in a sack of material sack that's sort of rolled around, that are then gets them like this. Then if we're going for the something like the Formosa, they're taken up to about 70% oxidization, and they look, these are little ramekins are a bit better for viewing, and actually they have a sort of nuttier because they're taken that little bit further with their oxidization. They have that sort of more hardier, robust flavour to them. And then when they get to about 70%, they are then stopped through panning as well. Then we go to my go-to drink in the mornings at the moment. Again, I don't know if that's going to actually come up. It's my the Jubilee blend, the Fortnum Mason's Jubilee, which is I think all the others so far have been single estates. This isn't a single estate, it is a blend, and I'll talk about single estates I think in another one, because this video might be a bit long already. But it just looks like what you'd normally know as tea. They are withered to dry out, and then they are rolled to start the damaging process, and then they're dried, and then it really depends on what's happening to them, whether they're left as whole leaves, they're getting cut down to CTCs for tea bags and stuff, which we're not going to talk about on here. And yeah, the flavour, I mean, this is just a really nice, rich, dark, black tea. So I hope that's made sense to some extent for people, and I hope it makes it a bit clearer when I start talking about teas and certain types of teas, and sort of so you have a bit of an understanding of what the difference is between white, green, oolongs and blacks. I will do another video when I've learnt more about it, and I will do it about the other blends of tea as well. But this is what tea comes from, just so you know. And I will be talking the tea as it grows on, and sort of show you the buds as they come along. But I hope this video makes sense, and I hope it's of some use to some people who are not quite clear on the different types. And I hope as well it encourages you to try the different types of tea as you see them. You might have a bit of a more idea on what they're like. Okay. Hope everyone has a great day and still Merry Christmas, and see you all soon.